She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep. The pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep.
God damn it.
I got a hook.
Mountain Dew up the back of the
Boxes.
nose.
Pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep. The pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep. The pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep. The pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep. The pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep. The pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's to the froggy queen, the life of the party. She's just getting started. Here's to the froggy queen, the mistress of fun, a wild amphibian. She's deep. The pond is wild in the moonlight. The party's on, we can go all night. She's the reason fun is in season. She's kicking it off and starting it right. Here's the reason.
Hello, hello, hello. I don't know what's happening. I feel like I did something wrong. But hello, how's everybody doing? Mostly you are still... Hi, Galactic. I'm sorry. I know I was supposed to go meet up with you. I totally got distracted. My brain... I got called elsewhere. My brain got distracted, and then here I am. I'm sorry. I am a fool. I am a bad friend. And I apologize, and I loves you, and I'm sorry. Ooh. And I've been summoned. I feel like I am. And I'm sorry. Also, I must untether Logan because he's tethered in the wrong spot now. There we go. Isn't TK supposed to be sleeping? Here. Galactic, I'm gonna put you right here threatening the fish. I'm sure you'll like that. Threaten the fishy. No. No escaping for any of you. Air jail. Air jail for all of you. Even for TK. TK gets air jail as well. Duncan is still a... No, Mousy escaped. Bonk the water. How's everybody's day been? Does everybody have a good day? I hope you have. The day has been unique. How was yours? I would say unique as well. I see things happening in the future that I'm not very happy about, and then others that I know that I'm gonna need to ask for help for, and I don't love doing that because I feel like I already get enough help as it is. The goose escaped. How dare. The goose has been blown up. Who blew up the goose? Hello, Turtle Man. I see you lurking down there as an egg. What is going on? Why? Lethal, are you messing with yourself? Because I don't understand why you're just flying off. Well, anyways, today is another Myth-Ellaneous podcast day. And there he goes. What? What are you doing? Drac! How you doing, Drac?
Hey, in my defense, I have not been on this map very much. Do a slug race. Oh, my sweet baby Jeebus. Are you ready?
Thank you for the hip
Oh my god, my heart just fucking stopped.
I'm glad you're
Oh
chilling.
my
Did
god.
you have fun on your stream?
Sir, please!
Let's just give a shout out to everybody that's going to be in the podcast with me. Starting with Mousy. And then
Hey Crimson, welcome on in.
going
Thank you
with
for the follow.
Burb,
happen as they happen, and when
who I'm glad I remember his name because he has not lurked, so making it infinitely more difficult for me to actually shout him out. Just kind of sitting and staring at the wall. I feel like that was my day a lot. Like, it just feels like that it was that, even though it probably wasn't.
I join in and Jacob leaves. Let's see how it is.
If you, Cody, I'll be back, you son of a bitch. You know, Jacob,
You don't know what you should do?
Yeah, Cody, when we play with you,
Play-
the KD
play-
lobbies
play
are just
a
too
game.
low. Sometimes we gotta,
Play-
like, leave.
Play Supermarket Simulator, or do coloring pixels.
Sometimes there's precious need for folks like Fitzroy. Because of folks like me.
You have to bully the shit out of me because I haven't streamed in a while, huh, Nova?
I'm gonna bully. I do
Rose,
that
I
anyways.
just saw what you did with the do it.
Random sadness fun.
What, Jack?
I feel that. I feel that. I'm really happy because Mousy finally got to stream today after quite a bit of not being able to because things kept just happening and getting in the way. Oh, there goes Lethal. So I'm really happy to see that she had a good stream today. That not only did she stream, she had a really good stream today. So today we're going to be talking about Russian mythos. I know nothing about Russian mythos, so I will be reading what I'm given, and I will just be adding commentary. I am going to be I'm going to try to be the comedic relief because otherwise I have no value in today's podcast. My announcement seemed kinda stupid in hindsight. What do you mean? Why would your announcement seem stupid? You got a job. And that's really good. Why would that be stupid? That's not stupid. Don't say that. You fought to get a better job, and now you have one. And that is something to be proud of. Well, just because you feel like somebody expected more doesn't mean they did. Sometimes, you know, we're our greatest critic, and maybe you feel like others were expecting something even though they weren't, because really, what are they going to expect? What are they realistically going to expect from you besides your presence in your own stream and some entertainment? I know you are. So then be proud of be proud of your announcement. Don't feel like it was stupid. It doesn't have to be a big thing. My announcement for this stream is really stupid. I'm happy to announce that I've kicked ChronicleBot from my server. So you won't be getting pinged the way that you were anymore. And now I will try to keep up with posting my stream schedule on a weekly basis. I posted my first one that I do have to kind of update once I figure out what I'm doing on Wednesday and Thursday. But for the most part, I posted it. It's there. I tried my best to make something that was true to me and that, you know, would be fun to look at. Neko did help me with it, because I was trying really hard. I was like, okay, well, all the VTubers post like their schedule in a really fancy, like they have a really fancy template and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then Neko's like, thank you for the hip pat. Neko was like, well, why don't you do it like a book with spells and stuff? And I was like, what would that look like for me? And I did what I did. I thought a corkboard with ripped up pieces of paper. Did Chibi get a new chair? I have no idea, honestly. But yeah, I was like a corkboard, and then with just like a bunch of ripped pieces of paper, because I feel like that is just, it's as disorganized as my way of my way of thinking sometimes, which I know can be very frustrating for some of the people around me. But I can't do just like one straight line like of thinking. I wish I could. I cannot. Thank you. But yeah, I that is my announcement. I'm pretty proud of it. I think it looks pretty good. And I hope that now people can stop feeling like my server is a menace because ChronicleBot kept pinging everybody. So there it is. That was my announcement. And now to move to the tea room where everybody else is at, probably waiting for me so we can begin.
Does that imply that there's a serious putty?
Yeah.
And if, yeah, I was gonna say if so,
Exactly.
is it before?
Are we talking about silly putties and serious putties?
They were talking about Gek, and then I said it reminded me of Gak.
My chat's
And
also
then-
listening to
yeah.
the Rasputin song.
I see.
Oh my god, wait, I just realized how good that is that the worker ant has fecundity. I mean, it's kind of useless right now, but like still. So hi D, thank you for the lurk. Give me man, I guess.
Okay.
And give him this.
I am here.
Alright, we all good to start?
Yeah, give me a second to pull this guy
Chaotic
off the
neutral
stage.
at best.
Let's let Rapid finish that fight.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna get right. Do you want me to just not do the boss fight yet, or do you want me to just hop into the boss fight? Well, one of you starts.
That's up to them.
I do
I'm
not
not
want to
gonna lie.
start when I have very much specified that I know nothing about Russian mythos, and my value is going to tap out at commentary, specifically comedic relief. That is
So
my
what I can
my
do
title today.
I could talk about Leshy while doing this fight.
I was gonna say that, or if Duncan wanted to go first.
Yeah, if you wish to fight your bosses, I will. Because I suppose, for one, we should introduce, like, where the mythos is coming from before we, like, get into, like, each creature and such. So I'll get us through the boring, the history class that you skipped in college, and we'll do that.
Real
You're
quick,
all guilty. So
real
go ahead.
quick. D.
Mm.
Where's the donut?
Right, the donut has been talking from the icebox. Hold on.
He's like, guys, I'm still in here.
I wondered why it was so cold, why I'm wrapped in a blanket. That makes perfect sense now.
Donut, do you want your nightcap?
Please.
Nightcap
Thank you, Frog
itself.
Mother.
Very frog mother.
Oh god. Great. Someone's gonna have to make a song out of that, but anywho. Alright, so tonight's episode on Russian mythology. Slavs are going for cheap. Okay, so obviously Russian mythos is as old as the nation itself. But, Russia's gone through a lot of changes, and so trying to get at least a glimpse into what they were like before and during the Soviet Union, and obviously to show like what's come after it. That's evident in a lot of pop culture nowadays to show that it's still thriving today. So we're kind of familiar with that. So for starters, let's go back in time to pre-Christian Russia. Okay. So more or less, the organization of early Slavs is based in small towns run by groups of people rather than single leaders. So basically, that sounds like a kind of a crude form of oligarchy, based on what I'm looking at here. It would often have a strong emphasis on the family unit, and the area proposed as homeland for Slavic peoples, roughly around most modern day Eastern European countries. A lot of Eastern Slavs emerged around the Dnieper? Volga Dnieper? I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Basin. The Oka River, or Aka River, was a homeland to Slavic tribes from which Russian culture grew. Southern Slavic culture grew in the Balkan region, and of course, West Slavic people most likely grew in Eastern Poland. There are similarities, but also differences between, never say that Poles and Russians are the same, but kindred, I would think, is a proper term. I hope that is not a disrespectful thing to say. In the end, we're all brothers and sisters with different ancestries and yet a common seed that we sprouted from. Okay. So, an early Russian object of worship during this time was the. I'm sorry, I should have read this before. Was the moist Mother Earth.
Okay, so that wasn't a sneeze. Got it.
That was not a sneeze. I was choking.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a sneeze.
Okay. And a later possibly related deity was called Makash, whose name means moist and may have Finnish origin. Makash was the goddess of women, children, and animals, and was worshipped for her connection with fertility. It always comes back to that. Russian soil is generally too thin for robust agriculture. Rainfall is infrequent and inopportunely timed in much of the area, and the growing season is relatively short. Fertility and moisture are therefore particularly essential to the success of Russian agriculture. Because from early times, the Rus had an agricultural rather than hunting or herding basis for their food, so they were an agrarian society in their early days. They were not good.
Sorry.
They were not. It's okay. They were not on good terms with neighboring peoples, and the success of Russian society was largely dependent on the success of its agriculture. Basically, you get the crop, you survive. You don't get crop, you wind up in museum. Additionally, there is thought to have been a notable focus on the feminine element in early Slavic culture, with a subsequent shift to a more patriarchal society as Christianity got a foothold in the area. So, like, they were feminist before it was cool, I guess? Ancestor worship was another central aspect of the tribal life and served as a link between past and future generations. Animism was a common belief, but nature and how spirits play a central role in tribal life. There was a lot of animism in a lot of pre-Christian and pagan Europe. Some I know the Finns had things called bear weddings, which is kind of interesting because bears were such a sacred animal that if one died, they would host, I think, like a kind of a wedding rite to help its soul move on. And I'm wondering if the Russians had something similar. Okay, so that gives us the basics on pre-Christian Russia. Now we're moving into Christian Russia. Vladimir the First, or Vladimir the Great, or Saint Vladimir. Which, Corvus, if you know who that guy is, I would be impressed. Because
I'm sorry, which one was it?
Saint Vladimir.
Saint Vladimir. I don't know him off the top of my head, but I can look at this handy dandy list over here.
Oh my gosh! So you got like a little black book of saints?
Some of them.
Dope. That shit's dope. Okay. Anywho,
I should be better about knowing them, but
let's be honest. It's not about having them all memorized. It's about just knowing where to look for them. Anywho, so Vladimir I converted to Christianity in 987 CE, and subsequently mandated it as the state religion of the Kievan Rus. Just beforehand, he had pushed for a worship of a pagan pantheon not native to the people, but that proved largely unsuccessful. So, because the horse he bet on wasn't winning, he went and put his money on the other one. Okay. Because Christianity had already existed in the area, it caught on more easily than the foreign pagan tradition. Idols were destroyed at Kiev and Novgorod, two cities where Vladimir I had previously put particular attention into establishing a pagan pantheon. Despite the superficial eradication of pagan belief, animism and ancestors survived through rituals, stories, charms, and practices of peasant life. And usually that's how it goes. Like, even though like Christianity had a habit of dominating things in Europe, like it often more amalgamated and kind of assimilated a lot of these practices, superstitions, and ritualistic practices, and they would just then add the Christianity aspect afterwards.
Yeah. Also, I have discovered why I don't know this one as well as I should.
Oh yeah.
So Saint Vladimir is the patron saint of Russian Catholics.
So why would that? Oh, sorry, I don't mean to be confused by it. It's like because I mean Catholicism is kind of your background, right? So like,
Kinda, yeah.
is Russian Catholicism different, or are you referring to Eastern Orthodox?
So it's how there's a bunch of Christianity in of itself is split up like a lot.
It's soup at this point, yes.
Yeah, so there's Russian Catholic, Roman Catholic, Orthodox Catholic.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I'm
I'm
guessing
Roman.
it's separate from Russian Orthodoxy as well. So because there's okay,
From my understanding, I am not Russian Catholic. I don't know all the ins and outs, but to my understanding, it is basically the same thing. The only difference is the language and how being in Russia has affected the development of Russian Catholic versus how being in Rome affected how Roman Catholic exists.
right. So perhaps like a cultural definition based on the way the country itself evolved.
Yeah.
Um. Okay, let's see here.
Again,
So
I am not the expert on Russian Catholic, so I could be totally wrong. Don't quote me.
yeah, no, the same. You know, like this is something I wish I had a better understanding of. Okay, so certain pagan deities and other objects of worship became inducted into the ranks of the Christian saints. Other times, pagan holidays remained in practice but were called by new names, such as Trinity Day, during which peasant girls would honor the nature spirit Rusalka, which we will be learning about later. Commemorate past ancestors and practice divination rituals. Hopefully the nicer ones. I hope it wasn't anthropomancy because that would look really weird. Um, Another such holiday is St. John's Day, which is devoted to seeing off the spring and performing rituals to encourage springtime to come again soon. The coexistence of pagan and Christian beliefs in Russian culture is a duality of religion or duality of belief and was salient in much of Russian peasant culture. Certain pagan rituals and beliefs were tolerated and even supported by the church. In these instances, rites were interpreted as essentially Christian. For instance, the wintertime ritual of spreading hay on the floor became associated with celebrating the birth of Jesus at Christmas time. It's just hay, people. You could calm down. When the church condemned the practice, it typically did not dismiss it as made up, but instead acknowledged its power and attributed it to the devil. That's about right. So okay, so that's like in the time of the czars and things of that nature. What happened though when a certain revolution happened in one fine October morning? Um, you know what I'm talking about. You know, cue the memes. Okay, so folklorists today consider the 1920s to be the Soviet Union's golden age for their folklore. You know, the struggling new government had to focus on its efforts of establishing new administration, building up the nation's backwards economy. It couldn't be bothered with attempting to control literature yet. Um, so studies of folklore thrived. The primary trends of folklore study during the decade, the formalist and Finnish schools. Formalism focused on the artistic form of ancient Bailini and fairy tales. Spe- that was I don't know if that's the Canadian way of saying it. Like I don't know why I said it's like fairy. Like that's very weird. Fairy tales. That's what I meant to say. Um, Specifically, their use of distinctive structures and poetic devices. The Finnish school was concerned with the connections amongst related legends in various Eastern European regions. Finnish scholars collected comparable tales from multiple locales and analyzed their similarities, hoping to trace these epic stories' migration paths. I should also point out that the year that the Soviet Union was founded, which was 1917, is also the year that Finland achieved its independence and became its own nation. Finland is young compared to other nations, and it was a rough struggle, but they, you know, props to Finland on that one. That could have it could have ended very badly if because they got caught up in the whole Russian civil conflict. That's a very polite way of putting it. I shouldn't call it that, but that's what some called it. Um. Okay, So once Joseph Stalin came to power, and this is a bit later, and he put in his first 5-year plan into motion in 1928. He was in office that long. Oh my goodness. The Soviet government began to criticize and censor folklore studies. Yep, this is I remember this part. Stalin and the Soviet regime repressed folklore, believing that it supported the old Tsarist system and a capitalist economy. They saw it as a remnant of the backward Russian society that the Bolsheviks were working to surpass. To keep folklore studies in check and prevent inappropriate ideas from spreading amongst the masses, the government created the RAP. It's not that kind of rap, I promise. It's the Russian Association of Proletarian Writers. The RAP specifically focused on censoring fairy tales in children's literature, believing that the fantasies and bourgeois nonsense harmed the development of upstanding Soviet citizens. Fairy tales were removed from bookshelves, and children were encouraged to read books focused on nature and 3 and 4 was... Oh, that's something different. RAP eventually increased its level of censorship and became the Union of Soviet Writers in 1932. Good lord, I couldn't fathom that. Because I remember, like, that was part of, like, the whole reform where, ironically, they almost borderline eradicated illiteracy, but as a result, the sacrifice was you could only read and write what they told you you could read and write. And so it was that weird trade-off where everyone could read and write, but only what was acceptable. In order to continue researching and analyzing folklore, intellectuals needed to justify its worth to the communist regime. Otherwise, collections of folklore, along with all other literature deemed useless for the purposes of Stalin's 5-year plan, would be unacceptable in an unacceptable realm of study. In 1934, Maxim Gorky gave a speech to the Union of Soviet Writers, arguing that folklore could, in fact, be consciously used to promote communist values. Apart from expounding on the artistic value of folklore, he stressed that traditional legends and fairy tales showed ideal community-oriented characters, which exemplified the model Soviet citizen. Folklore, with many of its conflicts based on the struggles of labor-oriented lifestyle, was to communism, as it could not have existed without the direct contribution of the working classes. Gorky also explained that folklore characters expressed high levels of optimism and therefore could encourage readers to maintain a positive mindset as development. Mind you, I'm strictly trying to keep this apolitical. I'm just going with the history lesson of how folklore was going. Okay. Yuri Sokolov, the head of the folklore section in the Union of Soviet Writers, also promoted the study of folklore by arguing that folklore had originally been the oral tradition of the working people, and consequently could be used to motivate and inspire collective projects amongst the present-day proletariat. Had to hydrate. Characters throughout traditional Russian folktales often found themselves on a journey of self-discovery, a process that led them to value themselves not as individuals, but rather as a necessary part of the common whole. It was a big hole. The attitudes of such legendary characters paralleled the mindset that the Soviet government wished to instill in all of its citizens. He pointed out the existence of many tales. Rabbit.
Keep reading.
Yes, okay. Don't let your kids watch it! Okay, anywho. Let's see, where was that? Journey of self-discovery, a process that led them to value themselves as part of the... Okay, yes, okay, here we go. The attitudes of such legendary characters paralleled the mindset that the Soviet government wished to instill in all of its citizens, and he pointed out the existence of many tales that showed members of the working class outsmarting their cruel masters, again, working to prove folklore's value to Soviet ideology and the nation's society at large. Now, actually, I gotta admit, that's a pretty clever play to, prevent future book burnings. A bit of a sacrifice, but I applaud him for doing anything he could to just preserve good literature. Convinced by Gorky and Sokolov's arguments, the Soviet government and the Union of Soviet Writers began collecting and evaluating folklore from across the country. The Union handpicked and recorded particular stories that, in their eyes, sufficiently promoted the collectivist spirit and showed the benefits and progress. It then proceeded to redistribute copies of approved stories throughout the population. Meanwhile, local folklore centers arose in all major cities. Responsible for advocating a sense of Soviet nationalism, these organizations ensured that the media published appropriate versions of Russian folktales in a systematic fashion. So that's the trade-off. Is like more or less you would have them retcon and rewritten to fit the Soviet model, more or less. But it's better than nothing, I suppose. Apart from circulating government-approved fairy tales and bylany that already existed, during Stalin's rule, authors parodying appropriate Soviet ideologies wrote communist folktales and introduced them to the population. These contemporary folktales combine the structures and motifs of the old bylany with the contemporary life of the Union, called Noviny. These new tales were considered the renaissance of the Russian epic. Folklorists were called upon to teach modern folk singers the conventional style and structure of traditional bylany. They also explained the performance appropriate types of communist ideology that should be represented in the new stories and songs. How much further is this Soviet? Oh, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's a lot. It is a lot of stuff. Let's see here. As performers of the day were often poorly educated, they need to obtain a thorough understanding of Marxist ideology before they could be expected to impart folk tales to the public in a manner that suited the Soviet government. Besides undergoing extensive education, many folk performers traveled throughout the nation in order to gain insight into the lives of the working class, and thus communicate their stories more effectively. Due to their crucial role in spreading communist ideals throughout the eventually some of these performers became highly valued members of Soviet society. A number of them, despite their illiteracy, were even elected as members of the Union of Soviet Writers. What? These new Soviet fairy tales and folk songs primarily focused on the contrasts between, of course, the misery of old Tsarist Russia and the improved one under Stalin's leadership. Their characters represented identities for which Soviet citizens strive, exemplifying the traits of the new Soviet man. It sounds like a kind of like a Russian superhero, like Soviet man. That just sounds
Soviet man.
I mean, that's Superman Red Sun later on, but I'm talking about like back.
Man.
Honestly, his name would probably just be Working Man.
Working
Which is, I think, a great
Equal man.
Yeah, great child.
Equal
Yeah,
man.
great child.
Or our man.
Our man.
It's okay. So you can just go on. I can make jokes about it. Except Comrade Barry's Ghost Body has me on his list.
I mean, so long as you weren't in Russia, you could always make jokes about Russia.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot about that
Russia
part.
wasn't dumb enough to fuck with us. Like, actually. There's a reason the Cold War was cold.
Well, there's that.
We were both too smart to do anything.
Or too dumb to stop.
Or too passive aggressive to do anything.
Yeah.
The fact is, we both loved buttons, but we didn't like the fact that it said "do not press."
We both liked the buttons, but we didn't like that the others also had those same buttons.
But you know, I'm glad that it never came to that. Anywho, politics aside, like I'm not trying to make this a big political thing. It's just trying to keep an eye on like where the fairy tales came from and how they survived through all this stuff. And it is a lot. Let's see here. Okay, we were talking about Soviet man. Yeah, superhero. Okay, here we go.
Thank you, Plague.
You're welcome.
Not you, Plague. But Flag.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me because I caused stuff to go off rails.
No,
Hey, I'm gonna be lurking here while I work. Have a good luck, Vandal.
Okay. The heroes of Soviet tales were meant to portray a transformed and improvised version of the average citizen, giving the reader a clear goal of the ideal collective-oriented self that the future he or she was meant to become. These new folktales replaced magic with technology and supernatural forces with Stalin. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. It's just I read it as like, it's like at first replacing magic with technology. It's like, oh, okay, so Soviet steampunk. Okay, here we
Thank
go.
you for giving them a shout out.
Yeah, but then supernatural forces with Stalin. I'm just like, wait a minute, what?
They were superstitious.
That is true. Some still are.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful thing.
That could be said about almost any country.
Yeah, don't
Like-
believe me. So go ahead.
I feel like Russia was well documented superstition, though.
Yeah.
Fair.
Well, definitely. I would definitely say so. That'd be. I imagine there could be a time for a podcast episode of its own with, like, on superstitions and having like Russia be like one of the countries we choose. But I've witnessed superstitions even in my country. Like there's churches that dance with snakes because they take one verse where they say, "Oh, it'll bite you and it won't affect you." I'm like, I don't think that was meant for you guys.
Those are becoming illegal.
Thankfully,
Maybe
yes,
not gonna get your claps
because
cheeked.
people were dying,
Yeah, let's
and
do.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, let's do
okay, no,
Edgefield.
thank
We
you.
could do a quick
Yeah,
Edgefield.
and then there's also the whole no
Or cheeks
hotels
clapped,
anywhere in
what-
the U.S. have a floor 13.
Oh yeah, because 13 is considered a very misfortunate number.
I think. I'm sure some buildings do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could actually share one that my father had for a while. I don't know if he still does. This one is actually, it's not as bad, but if you take it too seriously, it could be damaging to you. But he always believed that if whenever he saw a pair of mourning doves, it meant that he was not meant to be alone. Versus if he saw a mourning dove by itself, it meant that he was not meant to be with someone. It's a weird one. I gotta admit, I've never seen anyone think that. I've never heard it practiced by anybody else. I'm curious to where that idea comes from. If that was a yep.
Mourning doves mate for life. So
Ah,
when they lose their partner, they don't mate with anything else.
that's probably what. Yeah, that would probably explain the significance of it. Okay, that well, that answers my question on that. So, okay, back
Isn't
to
that,
what we.
where
what-
they could die from like a broken heart?
That's swans, I believe.
I thought it was more than one type of bird that died from a broken heart because
Oh,
they mate
maybe.
for life.
Penguins, maybe. There's subspecies. Not all of them are, but some do mate for life. I think. Honestly, some people at least have that. I mean, there are all kinds of people. You have polyamorous people who maybe don't get as attached, but I don't know. But then like my literature teacher, he was inseparable from his wife. They did mission trips together, and well, unfortunately, life didn't care about any of that, so gave her cancer. And even though he is still alive, as far as I know, he just was not the same guy afterwards. Like he wasn't bitter or anything, but he just was just a husk at that point. And he was one of the coolest guys I knew growing up, and there just was nothing left of him when he lost her. She was part of him.
I was just gonna say that I don't think polyamory means that they get less attached.
My apologies. I didn't mean to come off as dismissive on that. It's something I also don't know a lot about.
I'm just saying that I don't think that's what
That's
it is.
yeah. I think it's a lot more complicated than I think it is. Or either that or I'm overcomplicating it when I hear about it. I've only known a few people that were, and it usually varies one of a few ways. Either that even if they're polyamorous, they might pursue a monogamous relationship and stick with that for some reason, or they will never seem to settle down. So like there's two different ways, and like I'm not judging any of that. I don't fully understand it. Is just because I can't process it all that way.
Yeah.
But it's
as you said, it is complicated because there's different types of polyamory and like different levels of it.
yeah, and I've
But,
probably not even seen them all.
But like there's also kind of like you can't say, oh, like an open relationship, that's not what I don't think that falls under polyamory unless it is some kind of like sub category that I don't know about, but stuff like that where it's just like it's polyamory as far as I know. It is that you choose to have more than one partner, not because you can't attach yourself to just one, but because you believe in being able to love more than one partner in the same way that you would be able to love just the one.
I'd say that's a fair assessment. And yeah, because like I think it often gets a bad rap, and I don't think it should be disparaged the way it has been. I understand it's like it's in the case of like also like you mentioned like open relationships and stuff is that is I feel like that is more of a mutual agreement between partners rather than like so like there are probably some polyamorous people who are in open relationships, but it is not a
Yeah,
prerequisite of polyamory.
exactly.
Um, and maybe that's why, like in my case, so I had a polyamorous friend who, despite the fact that they could love more than one person, they married one,
Yeah.
and they stuck with that person. So it's like, and I guess that kind of makes sense, you know. It's like it's something that I don't see a lot of, but I'm trying to understand it better because I think it's important to kind of get a different perspective. I know this is completely off topic, but I feel like we're more invested in this.
Sorry, I just had to say that because we don't know who's listening and we don't want to.
I don't want to broad brush it for anybody. Like, if you ever hear me say something stupid, it's usually out of unintentional ignorance. So I apologize in advance. Is
No,
that
you
there's a
don't
lot
have
of
to
things about the world
apologize
I
if you
don't know.
don't know about something, and I can add my own little scent to
Yeah,
your jar of knowledge. Then I'll try to do that. You know.
As long as you're willing to listen and accept the knowledge that is being spoken, you don't have to accept it as in your knowledge now, but
right,
willing to listen.
Yeah.
That's the
right.
key.
Yeah, because I want to be at least reasonable and hear out like what that difference is before whether I agree, disagree, or I'm not sure yet. Is I want to be able to empathize and understand like, oh, so that's where you're coming from on this. That actually kind of makes sense. You know, be it a different culture, be it religion, be it sexuality, be it any of these things. You know, all these things. I think I think it's good that you stand firm in convictions on things. Like I'm just using you in the general sense, not specifically referring to any of you guys. um, it's that like the concept of I think it's important not to compromise on your views, but to know when to be reasonable too. You know, like I think a lot of times we often become obstinate and unreasonable and irrational because we think that somehow that by hearing someone out that it's compromising on what we stand for.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of people think of it as like, oh, you're trying to convert me, or like you're trying to like
yeah,
manipulate me into believing things though or seeing things the way that you do. And it's not about that. It's being
yeah,
able to be open-minded and have a conversation, a back and forth with
yeah,
somebody else who might not have the same views as you, and be
yeah,
able to respect each other's views,
yeah.
you know, as long
Back
as it doesn't infringe on their
like back in my
rights as
college
people.
yeah, back in my college days I was so stubborn that I took any person's disagreement as a personal attack. It was really bad. I don't know what really changed to open it up to give different perspective. I think like well, I told you like in cases like when I was unlearning some past prejudices regarding a person I believe from Syria, and they kind of they gave me that new perspective, and I came to realize that I was a huge dick, and I really need to reevaluate that. And I think that was like the stepping stone for when I started to kind of open up and wonder where other things were going. Same case like with music, growing up in a particular household, we were told certain genres were bad because of things they sang about stuff. And then when I actually looked into the stories of like the singers who sang these things, I started to understand where they were feeling from. And I think part of it is because there was times that even though I didn't go through what they went through, I started feeling the same way, and I was afraid to write those things because you know was my maker going to get upset with me for the words I had to say, that kind
Yeah.
of a thing. Um, I know we're completely off topic. That we were talking first we were talking polyamory, now we're talking something, and then it's something Joseph
To get
Stalin.
us back on track, the point is that I just wanted to just put my 2 cents in there. Didn't mean it to get this far. You may continue with your talk of
Yeah. Don't worry, it's only got like a couple more paragraphs. But
before we continue, I do want to say I have been talking with the guys, specifically Mousy, about organizing the podcast a little bit more and maybe answering specific questions. So if there are any questions that you think that you would like to be answered in terms of any kind of mythology or any topic that we speak about, that would interest you to know, then please let us know in chat. You can DM me, you can leave it in the server, in the suggestions channel, just anything like that, because we really do enjoy these podcasts and we want to make them the best they can be. And we do know that we do go on a lot of tangents.
Yeah.
Even though our tangents are fun and, you know, they do have their own, like, you know, knowledge in certain topics or whatnot. We do want to be better at staying on topic and having the topic that we're trying to convey come through in a more clear and concise manner to you all.
yeah.
Also, real quick,
go
hey
ahead.
Jester.
Also,
Hadn't seen him in a while, so I want to say hi.
Also, real quick, Mousy, look at my stream.
Do you love tangents,
winner
just
is
not the
you.
math kind? Fair.
Thank you.
And
I
also,
have a
if
mousy
I'm
hat. Sorry.
oh, that's no, that's fine. That's awesome. If I'm talking too fast, I actually don't mean to, is because a lot of my notes were borrowed a lot from wiki articles, and so it's a mouthful of words, and I think I was trying to plow through it. So I'm by nature kind of neurotic and a fast talker. So if I need to slow it down, I can.
We have a neurotic donut on our hands.
My
Which is-
ADHD will definitely let you know if you need to slow down.
Such an interesting coincidence considering I don't have a brain.
If I only had a brain. Sorry.
I would dance and be merry. I would dincy dairy if I only had a brain. Oh God, I used to love watching that
Anywho.
movie. Yes. Next, okay. So
Galactic
we're going...
says you're going at the perfect pace. So there you go.
Okay, I trust the Galactic Archer. I used to play a ranger myself in D&D, so I know he's legit, or she, or they, or Mary Poppins.
Oh.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm just claiming bits real quick. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we were at New Soviet Man. Okay, here we go. The last two paragraphs.
Okay, we've only got an hour left. Let's go.
Can we get this moving along? I'm all out of time cards.
Wait, do we have an hour left? Well, we have an hour left of the donut. I know that much.
I was just joking about how long it takes us to get through these things.
No,
Don't you remember?
The donut tends to.
Oh yeah.
He loses his glass slippers at midnight.
Hey, don't you remember what your song says, D? The party's on, we can go all night. No. Actually, if I did that, I'd lose my job, so I can't. But, okay. Instead of receiving essential advice from a mythical being, the protagonist would be given advice from an omniscient Stalin.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Hey, yo, wait a second.
I feel like we're stalling.
Quit Stalin and help me. Okay. If the character follows Stalin's divine advice... I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't with you people.
I'm sorry. All I have to do is think of his inner circle, and then I'll stop laughing. I know that way. If you know anything about what his inner circle was like, you'll know exactly what. Okay.
You know, everybody says that he wasn't that full of himself. I mean, who else would depict themselves as a divine being?
The same guy who would arrest a guy just for looking like him. Let's hear.
Touche.
I mean, how many of these little men are we gonna have in history before the world learns its lesson?
I don't know. I think there's something hardwired into us where we like champions, and the problem is the champions are always the assholes. uh, let's see here. The funny thing was, he was actually not very good at giving speeches. His voice was very reedy in front of. But
He didn't have to be good at doing speeches. He was fucking brutal.
yeah, 50 million casualties on top of.
Oh damn! You don't like what I have to say? Say goodbye to your family.
I think didn't he was the one who said no man, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anywho. Let's see here. Okay, so if he followed Stalin's divine advice, yes, he could be assured success in all his endeavors and a complete transformation into the new Soviet man. Dude, that's this is totes. This is a communist Marvel comic. All right, let's go.
I have a strange feeling that Stalin's divine message was just you need to go from a 60 to an 80-hour work week and eat about 10% less in a week.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the advice he was giving out.
And make your kids from the community housing do the what they call the work education. They called it, which basically was community service for kids.
Anyways, I will now stop ragging on Stalin.
Yes. He did plenty of his own anyway. The villains of these contemporary fairy tales were the whites and their leader Eldritch. I should clarify. When they say the whites, they're referring to the Russian White Army, which was the antagonist of their antagonist of the Russian Civil War. People, believe it or not, is we talk about World War One, and we talk, because 8 or 9 million casualties, and that was tragic. To give an example of how brutal the Soviet Revolution really was, because people joke about saying, "Oh, we got to have that over here, or we got to have it in this country." 20 million people lost their lives in Red October through the Russian Civil War, and that was in the 1920s. That's not counting what Stalin did later. And it was the Soviet Red Army with the Bolsheviks. You had the White Army, which was loyal to Tsarist Russia. You even had, I think there was a Green Army in there somewhere, but I couldn't quite remember exactly what their loyalty. But of course,
I did a report, and the only ones I could find decent information on were the Reds and the Whites.
They were the two predominant factions, yes, and of course the Reds won due to the failing infrastructure, and of course the fact that the Bolsheviks slaughtered the noble family. All the Romanovs were basically wiped out. But that's for another time. That's for if we ever have a history podcast, we'll probably go in deeper on that. But
our version of a history podcast is whenever you hop into the stream or the tavern while I'm playing Hell Let Loose.
Pretty much. But the only reason why I brought that up is to mention because it says the villains of these contemporary fairy tales were the whites, and so I wanted to make sure that we clarified this is talking about the Russian White Army, which was the Tsarist loyalists. And their leader, Eldritch. It looks like the word idol, but with ISCE at the end. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. The most monstrous idol. Oh, it's literally, that's what it means. Who is the equivalent of the Tsar, of course. Descriptions of the whites in Novny mirror those of the Tartars in Bylany. In these new tales, the whites were incompetent, backwards capitalists, while the Soviet citizens became invincible heroes. And yet everyone was made of straw. Once Stalin died in March of 1953, holy crap. So he died the same year my dad was born. It's crazy. I'm not doxing my dad. I don't even know. But so the folklorists of the period quickly abandoned the new folk tales of the period. That actually kind of makes sense. It's like pretty much once he was gone, they decided to get their own stuff back. So written by individual authors and performers, Novny did not come from the oral traditions of the working class. Consequently, today they are considered pseudo-folklore rather than genuine Soviet or Russian folklore. Without any true connection to the masses, there was no reason Novny should be considered anything other than contemporary literature. Specialists decided that attempts to represent contemporary life through the structure and artistry of ancient epics could not be considered genuine folklore. Stalin's name has been omitted from the few surviving tales of the period. Instead of considering folklore under Stalin a renaissance of traditional Russian epic, today is generally regarded as a period of restraint and falsehood. I mean, you know, no shit. Okay. Now you get to take a break from my yammering. Mousy, if you are up for it, you wanted to address on magic, rituals, and charms of Russian mythology. It's not a very long passage I got there, but hopefully there's some stuff, and if you got anything else to add, feel free.
I have to step away for just a second. I'll be right back.
Step away, Tavarish.
All right, so Wiggly Finger, magic, rituals, and charms.
Nice.
I'm sorry. You saying that with a sprinkle in your little paws was just too funny. It just looks like you're gonna start waving the sprinkle around like a wand.
I will. Don't make me.
Mouse has just won the internet.
Of course she did. She always wins the internet. She's precious.
Must
So-
protect.
So, folk magic. There are two primary types of magic in ancient and peasant Russian culture. There's the unclean or evil magic, and productive or good magic. The unclean is associated with the devil, generally considered hostile, and the good is protective against evil magic and seeks to produce a good for the user. Some of the magic practices, such as divination, which are traditionally considered productive magic, are largely reassigned as unclean magic by the Christian Church once it was in power. Most productive magic was homeopathic, meaning it was a symbolic action performed with the hope of invoking and related response from reality. For example, in the springtime, ritual of carrying around branches with artificial birds or cookies representing birds on them was thought to help bring the bird flight associated with the coming of spring. Folk magic traditions have been recorded as persisting as of 1648 in Moscow.
I want bird cookies now. Sorry.
Me too. I saw that and went, cookies!
Yes.
That's just
Honestly,
me.
I kind of want some cookies too.
So some holiday rituals, practices associated with holidays have their origin as magic rituals. Yuletide and New Year caroling was initially an opportunity for households to show their generosity in the start of the new year, thus ensuring they would have a prosperous year. Similarly, copious feasting and carousing at Chauvintide was thought to encourage a plentiful harvest. On the first night after a wedding, sometimes a couple's bed would be set near livestock so that they might influence the fertility of their animals. Other wedding traditions, like eating
my
eggs,
God.
singing rowdy songs, throwing grain over the newlyweds, were originally intended to secure fertility,
Oh my
prosperity
god. It
for the
actually was
couples for years
psychohypnotic.
to
Oh
come.
my god.
Is
Oh
that why
my
they
god.
throw
Hello.
rice
How
at
are
weddings
you?
now?
Thank you everyone
Yes.
for stopping by. Oh my god.
Suddenly everything makes sense.
Yeah, you want good crops. And I knew that even before I read that. So charms or incantations or precautions, or another word for it, whisperings. Charms are magic words to accomplish a variety of tasks. Some charms might be used to banish a leshy, like saying sheep's mug, sheep's wool. Others might be used to imbue magic action. Goodness. Others might be used to imbue an action with magic, so the ritual would be effective. One common structure for the charm is. Goodness, I am losing myself. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
For it to describe an action as its intended influence. So that person would go to perform an action and achieve the described result. For instance, one love charm begins, I will rise, the Lord's humble servant, name stated. I will come to the house into the doorway, from the doorway to the gate. It is common as well for a charm to invoke God or saints. There's also a charm stated here about toothaches, which is 3 paths. A tree stands by the road. Under the tree, a corpse lies. Past the corpse goes St. Anthony and says, "Why do you, corpse, lie here? Do your teeth ache? Do your ribs hurt? Do worms eat you away? Does blood flow out of you? Nothing hurts. Grow numb, you too. Teeth of God's humble servant," name stated. "Like in a corpse, make him strong, Lord stronger than stone," which is one of the oldest recorded references of Russian charms, which was dated back to the 10th century.
It's pretty metal.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that's all I got on charms. I think we were going to have the Burb make reference to Russian fairy tales because I know he had some notes on that. I had some brief notes on that. So depending on actually, if it's okay to hold for a moment, I just need to step away for a quick moment. I will be back.
You're fine.
I will be right back.
Oh, well, I guess, Mouse, it's up to you and me to keep people entertained.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. If you want, Mousy, you could hear I got one on Russian animals in mythology, or you said you wanted to do the one on Rusalka, which if you scroll down the list, sorry, pardon me.
I'm going to give my voice a moment.
Yeah, sure. Sure, no problem. Yeah, so I will be right back, and then if Burb does not come back to do the fairy tales, then I will move on to the animals page unless someone else would like to add something.
You're good. Just go do what you gotta do. On that note, I'm gonna do a chat check-in. How's everybody holding up? How's everybody doing? Your froggy's getting real eepies. It's too hot in my room. It's 91 degrees, and it's making me feel like I'm gonna faint. I'm drinking a lot of water. Trust me, it is not a lack of water. It is just too hot. Feels like I'm suffocating, Jesus. Don't mind me, just gonna drink some sparkling water that I took out of my freezer. I'm hydrating any and all possible ways that I can. Hi, Leon. Thank you so much for the raid.
Favorite game. No. I'm gonna yank my mic out of my face.
How'd your game go? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really sure what game it was that you were playing.
Okay, I am
like
back.
I saw the name, but I don't know what the game was about.
Has the Burb returned?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh.
Okay.
He didn't say anything, so I didn't know.
Okay, Rabbit?
What
No Rabbit yet.
Mousie's just
wait.
faster. Mousy
Mousy
even
is
beat me
faster.
to it. But yeah, Leon, you're gonna... At first, it was Ghost Runner, a first-person puzzle runner game. Then Shashingo, a Japanese learning game. Like, a game that lets you learn Japanese? That sounds amazing.
It's super cute.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. You reckon I'd
might-
like it and might be able to actually use it to learn Japanese? Because I've always wanted to learn. Yes, it's through pictures. Ooh.
That actually sounds pretty dope.
It's on Steam. Shashin. Don't mind me. Gonna go look it up right now. Shashingo. Wow. I can't. Shashin. I'm guessing.
Also, since I was gone, thanks for the lurk, Dommy.
Oh, it's fun, but I'm too tired to play it. Fair enough. I mean, if you're tired, oh hi Plague, welcome in. When you're tired, trying to learn another language is almost impossible. Ghost Runner drained me. I've never heard you say that about any game, really. How? What? First person puzzle runner. Okay, so I'm also gonna have to check that out, but I'm adding Shashingo to my list. Now I'm gonna go look for Ghost Runner. Wait, oh. What the hell? There's Ghost Runner, Ghost Runner 2, Ghost Runner Project Hell, Neon Pack. But I'm guessing it's the Ghost Runner just... Yes. Can I view the page, please? Ooh. This looks fun. I hope next time you play it, I can catch it. If you get mad like me from dying in a single hit 56 times in 5 minutes, you will hate it.
Yeah, those are the kind of games I can't play.
I mean, in that case, I won't watch it. No, I won't play it, but I watch you play it. I'll enjoy myself through you. Also, yes. Water in a can, Lethal. Water in a can. Sparkling water comes in cans.
Why are we putting water in a can?
Sparkling water?
Okay.
But I did hear that if you go into space, you can get canned air.
Right. I was watching Good Mythical Morning today, and they were doing they were testing out canned air, like flavored canned oxygen.
I return.
I didn't enjoy myself, hence why I stopped playing it. Ah, that means you're not gonna play it again on stream, probably. Dang it.
Alrighty, everyone is back.
Also, there is just plain old regular water that it comes in cans. I think it's from what's his name? He does dang it, I forgot his name. He's an actor. Words.
What does he
Which
do?
one?
He does Aquaman.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. Yeah, Jason Momoa owns or owned a company that does canned water instead of bottled water because cans can be recycled more easily than bottles can.
You didn't get me with that.
Or at least that's what, you know, that's how he marketed it. And it's regular water, it is not sparkling. And I also think there's another brand called
I know Liquid Death exists.
Yeah, Liquid Death. That's the one. Thank you. Thank you. Liquid Death is pretty good. Ooh. Someone that's had it.
Yeah, I've had it too.
I've had it. It's definitely water.
Brother.
It's just water in a can.
Yep.
Its gimmick is that it's from the Swiss Alps, I think.
Huh, interesting.
Well, it's listed as alpine water, but the thing is, it is a gimmick. It's water. It's good water, but it's water.
Is Liquid Death just more expensive than other waters? Yep, water is water unless it's Dasani. I do not like Dasani. I'm sorry.
Dasani is salt with a little bit of water in it.
It is. As is Aquafina.
Exactly.
I cannot deal with either one of those waters.
Okay then.
I try to avoid anything nesty.
Yeah, Fiji water's pretty good, but it's overpriced. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be artesian water, but I take that with a grain of salt.
Which one?
Fiji water.
Oh, Fiji. I do not like Fiji at all. I like the memes I've heard. Water isn't supposed to fizz when you open it.
Right.
I mean, it does if it's sparkling. As mine is and does. I didn't used to like sparkling water, but that's because the only sparkling waters that I had tried were the thank you. Spasani isn't sparkling and it fizzes. I've never noticed that. Now I'm gonna have to keep that in mind.
Well, Dasani is I believe Pepsi makes that.
It's just
Pepsi
purified
The
tap
Dasani
water.
and Aquafina, one of them is from the
Dasani is Coke.
Coca-Cola, yeah, and the other one's
Aquafina
Pepsi.
is Pepsi.
And it's basically the filtered out stuff from when they're making the sodas and stuff, I think. Like the resulting water that gets filtered over and over again, but it just has a bunch of salt.
I don't know if y'all want to ever look up YouTube and look at like the alkalinity tests and the testing of like Poland Springs, Life Water, the
And almost
water
all
that
of
comes
them
in
failed,
a milk
yeah.
carton. The the scale on all of them is insane.
I'm sure.
Which is why I am able to tell you what kind of water you're handing me because I can taste the difference.
Yeah, I can taste the difference in waters, but I just want to point out that Leon says just because a soda company makes water doesn't mean it has to fit.
True.
That's meme worthy right there.
It
Well,
definitely
well said,
does
sir.
not have to fizz. But I was just gonna say, if you have never really liked sparkling water, it's probably because you've tried LaCroix or LaCroix, whatever how you want to pronounce it. And honestly, it is that is probably the worst sparkling water that I've ever had in my life, and it kept me away from actually enjoying sparkling water for a very long time. So
Are you telling me you don't like the flavor of shipped next to a single strawberry?
no. I'm telling you right now, I do not like the taste of bad static water. I like good static water. The ones that I have been buying as of late have been our Kirkland brand, and they come in lime, lemon, and I think grapefruit, and they are quite nice. And I do recommend these 100 times over than LaCroix. Best water I've ever had came from a mineral spring. Well, that is fair enough. I've had water like straight. I could have gotten sick. It's literally from a stream coming down a mountain here in Puerto Rico, in our rainforest. We ran out of water, and there was just a little trickle of water, and we were like, ah, well, if we die, we die, I guess. But it tasted so good.
Yeah, we used to have when I lived in upstate New York. I'm not doxing myself because I don't live there anymore. But we had these springs because we lived near the Adirondack Mountains and most Finger Lakes, the largest source of fresh water, at least on our side of the planet. And so that water was always fresh, and the local water companies were actually able to tell us, like, hey, if there was like contaminated runoff or anything that would affect it, to say, okay, you're gonna have to wait till it clears out, so they'll put a sign up. But most of the time, like, usually what would happen is, because when I lived on a farm with my family, runoff from the farmers' fields would contaminate our well water, and so we'd have to go and bottle up at the springs instead. But honestly, the spring water tasted better anyway, so it was no great loss.
I have to say 100% because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what living next to a commercial farm on an incline will do to you.
I don't know what that's like. but I do know that I felt really stupid the one time I was in Austria and I wanted water, and at the hotel we were at, there were no like vending machines or anything. I went up to the bar and I was like, "Hey, could I get some like water?" Like, and it doesn't have to be bottled. I just want some water. And the woman looked at me and was like, "You could have drank water from your room." And I was like, "What?" And she just takes a glass, while she's still staring me down, puts it under the tap, opens the tap. The glass is fogging up because the water is so cold. Hands it to me, and she goes, "There, your water."
Cold as ice.
Like, what the heck? And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." I drank it, and it was so good. And I was just like, "Okay, now I feel stupid."
OBS did a funny.
What did OBS funny do?
Disconnected.
Fun. OBS is so good at telling jokes.
Like, your stream disconnected?
Apparently.
I got the spinny wheel on his right now.
Oh yeah, spinning wheel.
Yay. Okay, reconnection successful apparently.
Oh, not before your stream ended though. I think you need to turn on the
I've got him live.
Yeah, but it ended for like a second. I got the like offline thing before I refreshed it. I think you need to turn on a setting in the stream in the dashboard that lets it go into like the disconnected screen so it doesn't end your stream before you can reconnect.
Where's that setting at?
Questions.
We'll deal with it another time.
I will look for it while Mousy keeps going.
Speaking of water, Donut, how do you say it again?
What about water?
The mermaids.
Oh yes. I'm doubt I'm get pronouncing it right, but Rusalka?
Rusalka.
Yeah.
So in Slavic, goodness gracious, Slavic folklore, it is typically a feminine entity, often malicious towards mankind and frequently associated with water, and with counterpart in other parts of Europe, such as French, the Melsune, and the Germanic Nixie. Folklorists have proposed a variety of origins of the entity, including that they may originally stem from Slavic paganism, where they may have been seen as benevolent spirits. I can't say it, so I'm going to say the mermaids appear in the variety of media in the modern popular culture, particularly in Slavic language speaking countries, where they are frequently resemble the concept of the mermaid.
Wait. What can't you say? Where is it? What did I miss?
I'm sorry.
Rusalka.
Oh, the Rusalka.
Rusalki.
Yeah, it's Rusalka.
And then the plural is Rusalki.
Rusalki.
And mind you, I'm not speaking Russian, so I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can send you a little cheat if you want.
Please.
Rusalti.
Not me accidentally almost sending Matt to D and not you.
Also, Burb, I sent you in your chat the where you can find it.
Alright.
The thing for the disconnect protection. Oh, thank you, Leon.
Okay.
Pet.
So in northern Russia, the Rusalka are also known by various names, such as the Vodyanitsa.
Vodyanitsa?
Where is it? I can't see it. I missed it.
Middle paragraph.
Oh.
Because O would be like ah.
Vodyanitsa?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Vodyanitsa.
I think.
Which
yeah, I think so.
Translates to she from water, or the water maiden, or
Kupalka.
Kupalka. which is bather, or the shatovka.
Yes.
No, you Shatovka.
You're waiting for that one, weren't you?
I was waiting. I was waiting.
He had that prepped and loaded for
He
a while.
did. He really
did.
Wait, I missed
also-
it. No.
Which also means joker, jester, or prankster. And the loco tukala?
Los Kotuka.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that. Which means tickler or she who tickles.
Okay then.
So in Ukraine, the rusalka was called mavka.
Yes.
Those names were more common until the 20th century, and the word rushalka was perceived by many people as bookish and scholarly.
I'm sorry, Leon put in chat D is she who tickles. Okay, Logan. You'll be asleep soon, though.
We'll sleep soon.
Night. Okay, you may continue. I'm
Yes.
following your every word.
I'm not sure this part I would add.
The
'cause
etymology
it doesn't
part?
make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's more crazy words. I think. I think that's the reason why.
Yeah. My brain shut down when I tried to read it.
It's okay. It wasn't my best copy. I'm not gonna lie. But we got pretty pictures. Oh, and we got some comments down there if you want. I forgot I put those there. Like there's variations. So like if you scroll down, you'll see comments.
Yes, let's
I
hope
didn't
you
see
don't have a
those.
bloody nose. Oh, there are variations. What the hell? Known Rusalki?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's right. There are some well-known results in folklore.
Oh my god, there's so much information for you to say, Mousy.
Aren't you excited?
Oh, my asthma just loves this.
You can pare it down. It doesn't have to be verbatim.
Yeah, I'm looking here. My brain doesn't work as fast as I need it to. Let's see here.
I feel that.
So, lore often says that the Ralsuki could not completely stand out of water. Some fiction works tell that they could climb trees, sing songs, sit on docks with only submerged feet, comb their hair, or even join the others in a circle of dances on the field. In particular, a feature of such stories revolves around the fact that this behavior would be limited only by certain periods of the year, usually summer. Let's see here. So, region specifics pertaining to the Ralsuki differed among regions. In most tales, they lived without men. In stories from Ukraine, where they were often linked to water, in Belarus,
Belarus, yeah.
Belarus,
Yeah.
they were linked with the forest and the field. They were usually pictured as beautiful naked maidens, but some areas they were imagined as hideous and hairy. They were also said to tickle men to death.
Well, we know where that came from. Must be from DeviantArt.
According to some Russian beliefs, the Ralsuki had an appearance of very pale little girls with green hair and long arms. In other beliefs, they were described as naked girls with light brown hair.
Okay, so we're going to completely ignore the fact that this is kind of describing me a little bit. Let's just move on from that. And the fact that Leon said DSU tickles, they tickle men to death. Yeah. I am not a Rusalki.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, D. I've never seen you and the Rusalki in the same room at the same time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I also, yeah.
No.
I also don't.
Again, I've never seen a Rusalki, so
Yeah.
maybe I have. Maybe.
I also I don't mean to draw too much emphasis on it because I know pronunciation. None of us know how to pronounce Russian, at least as far as I know. Just be mindful, like if we sometimes flub like Suki means something different in Russian, and it's mean. So just be
Mm.
careful if that ever slips with that, because I know sometimes
Gotcha.
people go bro Suki, and that's a bit different.
Oh, did I say that instead of Rusalki?
No,
Yeah.
it's me. I've been saying it wrong too.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not the worst thing you can say in Russian, like, but it is. But Russian profanity is. It's like anything said with the proper intent can become a cuss word in Russian. It's a joke they have. I just in case, because I don't know if we got any Slavs listening, and they're probably like, like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So a female dog
Yes.
is what that translates to.
Yes.
Gotcha.
If Google is to be believed, which
I'm sorry, I just read ahead of you, Mousy. The
Mm-hmm.
next paragraph does not help my case.
Uh-huh.
All right, you may continue, Mousy.
All right. So in Poland and Czech, water rusalka
Yeah, that works.
were younger and fair-haired, while the forest ones looked more mature and had black hair. But in both cases, if someone looked up close, their hair turned green and their faces became distorted. They killed their victims by tickling them to death or forcing them to participate in a frenzied dance. In Polish folklore, the term rusalka would also stand for
Boginka?
Bokinka, I'm guessing.
and a whole lot of words that were thrown at a board.
Tsitvozna? I don't know how you pronounce that.
I don't
know.
Pregnant. I don't know.
Hey,
All
where
right.
are we?
Go down to Rusalka and then scroll down to the comments section.
Yeah.
We are.
You'll probably see the parts that basically are
Yeah.
describing me as Rusalki, and I am not Rusalki.
That was for region specific. That was the last paragraph of
I don't
region
know,
specific.
D. You're not doing a good job at beating the Rusalki.
I know.
allegations.
I know. I know. I'm not.
Oh boy! Just wait till we get to the Vodnik.
Oh no.
All right, so there was an entire week for these guys. They were believed to be at their most dangerous during the Rusalka week. In early June, at this time, they were supposed to have left their watery depths in order to swing on branches of birch and willow trees by night. Swimming during this week was strictly forbidden, lest mermaids would drag the swimmer down into the riverbed. A common feature of the celebration of
Rusalnaya?
Okay, was the ritual banishment or burial of the Rusalki at the end of the week, which remained as an entertainment in Russia. And you said it before,
Belarus.
Belarus, yeah.
And Ukraine until the 1930s.
Okay then.
And then we have a few different known ones. One was Dana. Was mentioned in a folk tale. Her wicked stepmother envied her beauty once they went to swim near a water mill, and the stepmother drowned Dana. Dana had a groom, a young
word. A word in Russian. Kinyaz, I'm gonna say, and we move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to look that up. That's a weird one.
He longed for his late bride and often came to the place of her death. One day he
Really quickly, it is usually translated into English as prince, rarely duke.
Okay.
Ah, so he was a prince.
So a young prince.
Gotcha.
One day he stayed late into the night and saw how beautiful the maidens began to jump up on the water mills or wheels, laughing and combing their long green hair with white combs. Seeing Dana among them, the young prince rushed to her, but the Rusalka had already jumped into the water. The prince dived after her, but got entangled in her hair, falling into the underwater palace. Donna told him to get out as soon as possible if he wanted to return, otherwise, it would be too late and he would die. The groom replied that he would not live without her and he would not go anywhere. Donna kissed him, after which he became the water king of the river.
Oh,
Aw,
dang.
happy ending.
Right?
You don't see
He
those
got
very
the
often.
good ending.
That was
Yeah.
cute. Dang.
Then I have a few others here. So there is a Kostroma,
Yes.
a spring summer ritual character, as well as a fertility goddess associated with the Rusalka and the
Mavkas.
Mavkas. According to the myth, she drowned herself in the lake when she discovered that her newlywed husband, Gopalo,
Opalo?
Kupalo.
was her brother. She lured every man who met her into the watery abyss. Later, the gods took pity on the Rusalka and turned her and Kupalo into a single flower.
Oh.
So I'm
So-
assuming that's how they got their name.
So, an accidental case of Sweet Home Alabama leads her to go on a murder spree. And then, when all that happens, instead of being taken to justice, the gods turn them into a flower. Interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
Huh.
if I had $1 for every time something like that's happened in mythology on this podcast, I have $2.
Wow.
Okay, then.
All right. So the next one is Marina, a young widow from the old Simbrisky.
Simbersk, I think. I'm not sure.
I think she said it right.
Oh, yeah, maybe she did, actually. Sorry,
Legend-
my bad.
That's okay. Legend who drowned herself in the river Volga out of love for Ivan
Chochavi?
and became a Rusalka. Let's see here. It was said that she was able to take the form of a swan when she swam. She was also spotted flipping boats among the
Will be annoying.
named Volnok.
Yay.
Marina often sat on the shore, sadly looking at the house of her lover who married another girl. As a result, she managed to charm Ivan and take him underwater, where they began to live happily. Let's see here. Another one, Moriana.
That's a pretty name.
She was usually described as an incredibly beautiful but very tall maiden with disheveled hair and looked like a sea foam. Most of the time, she swam in the waters, taking the form of fish, and would come ashore only in the evenings. She also believed that to be the ruler of the sea winds. She would either be good or bad, eliminating storms at the first case and causing them the second. Sometimes the marine species of Voldis.
Vodyanitsi.
In the general were named after her.
Yeah, if you need a break, you don't have to do the last one unless you want to.
I'm gonna tap out.
Okay. Okay. So I'll leave it up to you guys.
Do you want me to finish it off for you, Mousy?
Please.
Okay. You finished the Moriana, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So we're going
I'm all the
on
way down to Origin.
Okay. So Origin and appearance. According to Vladimir Prop, The original Rusalka was an appellation used by pagan Slavic peoples who linked them with fertility and did not consider Rusalki evil before the 19th century. They came out of the water in the spring to transfer life-giving moisture to the fields and thus helped nurture the crops. In 19th century versions, a Rusalka is an unquiet, dangerous being who is no longer alive, associated with the unclean spirit. According to Dmitry Selenin, young women who either committed suicide by drowning due to an unhappy marriage, they might have been jilted by their lovers or abused and harassed by their much older husbands, or who were violently drowned against their will, especially after becoming pregnant with unwanted children, must live out their designated time on Earth as Rusalki. However, the initial Slavic lore suggests that not all Rusalki occurrences were linked with death from water. Although, thank you, Wrinkles. How are you? It is accounted by most stories that the soul of a young woman who had died in or near a river or a lake would come back to haunt that waterway. This undead Rusalka is not invariably malevolent and would be allowed to die in peace if her death is avenged. Her main purpose is, however, to lure young men seduced by either her looks or her voice into the depths of said waterways, where she would entangle their feet with her long hair and then submerge them. Her body would instantly become very slippery and not allow the victim to cling onto her body in order to reach the surface. She would then wait until the victim had drowned, or on some occasions tickle them to death as she laughed. It is also believed by a few accounts that Rusalki can change their appearance to match the tastes of men they are about to seduce, although Rusalka is generally considered to represent universal beauty, therefore is highly feared yet respected in Slavic culture. In most beliefs, Rusalki always have loose hair, which can be linked to Slavic traditions of unwedded maidens having unbraided or loosely braided hair, which once married is tightly braided and worn under a headdress. According to Dahl's explanatory dictionary, the expression walks like a Rusalka is applied to girls with unkempt hair. The hair of the Rusalka can be fair, black, greenish, or completely green. An important attribute of the water maiden is the comb, usually made from fish bones. I'll tell you, I mean, 10 minutes? Okay.
I kind of like the folklore behind that one, actually, because with exceptions, most of them are a lot more wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
It just, to me, it seems like the Rusalki or Rusalka, unlike in other folklore where the woman is not only has a tragic end because she's been wronged, but she's also then punished for what she's done instead of just like accepting everything that's happening to her. It seems like they're like, you know what? You get revenge. You get to sit here and lure these horrible men until you are satisfied and you are happy. And you can move on. And that's actually pretty refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
It is like, your feelings are valid.
Yeah. That first one definitely, I think, was probably still the favorite because it was like, rather than being like, oh, that this person's horrible or that person's, it's more that they both realize, hey, we're from two different worlds, but we can't go without each other. So that one, I'm just a sucker for that kind of. That's probably why I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
Because I'm a romantic donut. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. It is very cute. Now,
aw, you're a sweet donut.
He is a very sweet donut. He's at least 28 grams of sugar.
Have you ever seen how many grams of carbs are in most pastries? Oh Lord, you would choke. Okay.
Probably. On that note, though.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No. You can continue.
Well, like in a pack of Pop-Tarts, it's like what, 78 grams of carb in a single pack.
I don't remember. You might
it's
be
a
correct.
lot. Carbs get basically, the thing is, because carbs get broken down to sugars, which get stored as fat, and that's basically what happens to it. Wet flour, baby.
Wet flour. On that note, On that note, I'm gonna talk about the Voldianoi,
Oh yes.
which, as Donut has put in the title, friend of yours, D. In Slavic mythology, Voldianoi, um, is he from the water, is a water spirit. In Czech or Slavic fairy tales, it is called Votnik, or in Germanized form, Hastrman, and it is considered to be the equivalent creature of the Wasserman or Nix of German fairy tales. In Ukrainian fairy tales, it is called Vodyanik. I can't. Vodyanoi is said to appear as a naked old man with a frog-like face, greenish beard, and long hair, with his body covered in algae and muck, usually covered in black fish scales. Consequently, he is often dubbed grandfather or forefather by the local people. He has webbed paws instead of hands, a fish's tail, and eyes that burn like red-hot coals. He usually rides along his river on a half-sunken log, making loud splashes. Local drownings are said to be the work of the Vodyanoi, or the Rizalki. When angered, the Vodyanoi breaks dams, washes down water mills, and drowns people and animals. Consequently, fishermen, millers, and also beekeepers make sacrifices to appease him. The Vodyanoi would sometimes drag people down to his underwater dwelling to serve him as slaves. It is believed that Vodyanois have a ruler, the Tsar Vodyanik, or the Vodyan Tsar. He is described as an old man armed with a club who can rise to the sky sitting on a black cloud and create new rivers and lakes. No comments? No commentary? No commentary about the old man with a frog face? No?
I've been
Okay.
muted.
I will.
Isn't that just like your dad or something?
Huh?
I said, is that like your dad or something?
Grandpa.
How dare.
Grandpa. Sorry.
How dare.
Abuelo.
Abuelo. So, apparently, there are some companion spirits. One of them is the Bolotnik, which is the owner of the swamp. He is often considered a relative of the Vodyanoi and the Leshi. There are many descriptions of him, but most often he was imagined as an old man with long green beard and his body covered in fish scales and algae. The Bolotnik is dangerous, and he would pose an especially huge threat to those who play shepherd's pipe at night. I don't know what shepherd's pipe is. In order to lure the person to the swamp, he would parody the sounds of various animals, create wandering lights, and grow intoxicating plants. This spirit is often said to be a loner, although in some beliefs he has a wife, a bolotnitsa. And then it says Vodyanitsa, which is a beautiful green-haired water maiden, and she's often said to be the wife of a Vodyanoi. This spirit sometimes appears in the form of a golden-finned fish or a white swan. Vodyanitsi prefer forested lakes, mill ponds, wells, and less commonly seas as their habitat. They are considered harmless spirits, although sometimes they tear the nets and spoil the millstones. The sea Vodenitsi are more aggressive than freshwater ones and are dangerous to ships. According to some beliefs, the main difference between the Vodenitsa and other water spirits is that she is a baptized drowned girl. The term is often used as a synonym for Rusalka. So they're connected. They're relatives.
Hey neighbor.
And that's it. That's all there is about the Voldianoi.
Okay. I was thinking, Burb, if you wanted to do a brief one on Russian fairy tales, because I know that you, like we said, Rabbit's doing a Leshy. But if you want, you could do the Damavoy.
I mean, I like fairy tales.
Who doesn't?
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right. Russian fairy tale. This is the book Russian fairy tales, or is this just like talking about Russian fairy tales?
It's talking about Russian fairy tales, so I'll mention a few. Like, because I know that you had a few that were more in depth in your own notes, but I think this one more briefly mentions a couple of ones.
Okay.
I think it even lists one that you have.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure if there is actually a book called Russian Fairy Tales. I wasn't sure if this was that or not. But
I
anyways,
just copied the image.
fair enough. All right, so Russian fairy tales. There are more than 600 Russian fairy tales, some prominent examples being the tale of Tsar Sultan, the death of Koshchi the Immortal, Valissa the Beautiful, which more on that when we get to Baba Yaga. Sister Alanuska and brother Ivanushka, the Frog Princess. More on that when we get to Baba Yaga. And while I'm on that, the death of Koshi the Immortal. More on that in the Baba Yaga. Tarsevich, Ivan, the Firebird, and the Grey Wolf. Believe it or not, there will be no more of that in the Baba Yaga. Let's see. The death of Kochi the Immortal is popular Russian fairy tale that tells the story of a hero named Ivan Tsarevich, who sets out to rescue his beloved Marya Morvana from the evil
I don't know.
Sure. From the evil clutches of the immortal sorcerer Koshchi. Valissa the Beautiful is a popular Russian fairy tale that tells the story of a young girl named. I'm going to skip over that because I go heavily in detail on it in the Baba Yaga. If everybody's okay with that.
That's fine with me.
All right. Sister Alanushka. Is this what it's like whenever I throw Russian names at the D&D party?
I'm going to assume yes.
Yes.
We'll say for the sake of this argument to work, yes.
Because I was gonna say I don't know yet because sadly I have not yet experienced a D&D game with you, and I want to change that at some point. I was talking about it earlier today. I was really sad.
Yeah. I guess that was more for Rabbit because I did that the other day. I can't remember his name. I can't. Anyways. Alanushka and brother Ivanushka is a classic Russian fairy tale that tells the story of two siblings who go on a dangerous journey to find firewood for their family. The Frog Princess is a popular fairy tale found in multiple versions and various origins. It falls under type 402, the Animal Bride, in the Arnie Thompson Index. This includes other tales with similar plot lines from different countries. You know, Brother Bear. The tale the tale tells the story of a king or an old peasant woman who desires to see their three sons married. The eldest two princes, however, fail to marry a bride despite their efforts, while the youngest one manages to win the love of a talking frog or toad by promising to be her husband and to bring her to his father's palace. Which I'm sure a lot of us are more familiar with the European inverse, where it's a princess that finds the prince frog.
I am very sorry to my chat for that noise.
That good, huh?
Hmm?
That good, huh?
My mic fell.
Tsarevich Ivan, the Firebird, and the Great Wolf is a popular classic Russian fairy tale collected by Alexander Afanasyev in his volume of Russian fairy tales.
That was all I had for that one article. Let's see here. If you want, you can do the other brief one on animals, and then we can bring Rabbit in. What's up?
The one on animals? I just gotta find it.
It's right underneath the Russian fairy tales one.
Animals. All right. Animals occurs alongside human characters as well as alongside other animals. Some of the most common animals found throughout many folklore or folk tales and Russian fairy tales are foxes, sheep, goats, roosters, bears, and wolves. These animals are sometimes given human qualities. Question for the chat: does anybody know what the literary term for that is?
Personification. think.
Wait, which part?
Animals being given human qualities.
That is,
Anthropomorphism.
yeah, you
Anthropomorphism.
beat me to it.
I was thinking giving an object human qualities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically furries.
Yeah.
Exactly, furries.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
There better not be.
Yeah.
How many of the people in here are animals?
I mean, I'm a donut, so I'm honestly indifferent.
I'm gonna say 3.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3.
Huh.
Well, there's a goose.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Lethal was in here.
Peace was never an option.
Yeah, no, because 1, 2. I'm counting you and me as halves.
Where am I at? Where are you at?
But I am very much an oddity. I do not identify as one.
Fair enough.
I just don't like my face, so I figured I'd put something cute on the screen so that people could look at it.
I was gonna say, why am I a half? And then remembered I'm a bunny guy.
Oh. See, I like how Mousy did the exact opposite of what I did. I
What,
don't
went
like my
cute?
face, so I just put something horrifying on the screen.
I mean, it's kind of cute in its own way, in a Lovecraftian kind of way.
It is adorable.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
failed at making something spoopy.
Apparently.
I just want to like, like how like when you give like those really soft like 1 or 2 finger head pats to a bird, and they just get all cuddly. Like that's what I want to do with that mascot.
Fair enough.
I mean that in a very appropriate manner. Don't get any.
I want to preen your feathers.
I was just thinking that.
Alrighty.
I'll let Mousy, I'll let you do that.
I'm a married
Anyways,
woman. I
Mousy.
can't do that.
What I mean, would
It means something different to birds.
that's fair, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time,
Wait, what did I miss? Was there talk of you being a married woman? Oh, Burger!
I
How are
don't know
you,
what's going on.
Burger? Hold on.
Congratulations.
hello, Berber.
Hey, Burger.
Hi,
How you
Burger.
doing, Burger?
Don't know if I've ever met Burger, but how you doing?
He's good peoples.
Thank you for lurking, Winkles.
No, I'm gonna mess up because yeah.
No.
I don't
So
want to
what'd you
say
say,
the wrong
Mousy?
things. I gotta look. So I'm a married woman. I can't preen his feathers because for birds it means something different.
Ah.
That's a fair point, I suppose.
So to clarify to everybody that is in here at the moment, Burger is a Finnish burger.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
What has he got on him?
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask him yourself.
Hey, Burger, what are the toppings?
Lethal burger. No, a burger is not an animal.
What? I mean, it was.
It was, but it's not anymore. It'd be like asking if I was gonna say that'd be like asking if ketchup's a fruit, and then I remembered in the
It
past
is.
schools were like, yeah, we're gonna qualify this ketchup as a vegetable. So technically, no, ketchup's not a fruit; it's a vegetable.
I mean, tomatoes are in fact.
Is a dead fish still a fish? But the difference is that the burger has been processed into something else.
That's what Burger said. He was an animal.
Yeah, exactly. But Lethal brought up, is a dead fish still a fish?
No, it's
No.
Worcestershire
But
sauce.
yes, a dead fish is still a fish, but a burger
there's
is
a-
not a cow.
So at least reindeer and cranberries in Finnish burger.
Neat.
There's haw and haw.
Wait.
Reindeer.
Yeah, wait. Only Sami can eat reindeer, though. Well, they can. No, only Sami can hunt reindeer. Never mind.
The fuck is a granberry?
Is
I don't know, but sounds cool.
Is that like a
place.
cranberry? Like, what is a cranberry? Hold on. Now I need to go look because Berber's always
It's a
talking
last
about
name. There's
food
a
and making me
human-
hungry.
There is a human in the burger.
It is
Well,
a
you can't-
cranberry.
Or
No.
a town.
Is it? No. Yes?
Cranberry.
We have
mean,
lost the plot.
I mean, a gran
lost
is an
it a while
alien
ago.
species in Star Wars, so are cranberries like? No, I don't want to think about that.
It's a berry that grows in your something. Yeah, it's a cranberry. Yeah, I was right.
Cranberries in Finland? I
What?
thought it was too cold.
Huh?
They grow in water. What do you mean?
Okay, I still thought they had to grow in like a warm-tempered environment.
Cranberries are a winter thing.
Yeah, they're a winter fruit.
Are they?
Frequently found in northern Finland.
Why do you think every winter they're like have some cranberries with your turkey, or like
And
some
I'm-
cranberry whatever?
I'm
That's
hoping my
fall.
brain is correct in the association. You know that there's a heavily association to cranberries and spiders.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's so freaking cool.
Wait, is there
So-
a
Are there
what?
spiders in my juice?
Spiders and cranberries are heavily associated. When they're grabbing all the cranberries at the end of the season, they flood the fields to bring up the cranberries, and spiders actually get rid of all the pests. So it's normal for people who are collecting all the cranberries to have spiders crawling all over them.
Nope. Nope.
Are there
Nope.
are there
Nope.
spiders in my
I'm done.
cranberry juice?
Nope. Nope. Goodbye.
Well,
Sayonara.
most processed foods have an acceptable amount of bug
A
parts
bug,
in them.
yeah,
so
I
probably.
know.
I'm aware. But my juice? How much protein is this giving me?
Not
Can they add more
enough.
spiders?
Not enough.
I need protein. Can they add more spiders?
It's not just spiders though. It's also like crickets and grasshoppers and all that
Oh,
stuff.
because the spiders eat all those.
I can't argue his logic there.
My logic is undeniable.
So animals, right?
Sorry.
We're back on track.
How did we get here?
We blame Burger.
Anyways, these animals are sometimes given human qualities, including the ability to speak both with other animals as well as humans. They have the same emotions as humans, and they are given human qualities such as wit, humor, slyness, and at times stupidity. The characteristics of these animals have persisted throughout time. Foxes. I feel like I just got reminded of a stupid ass fucking meme. Anyways, moving on. So, foxes are often portrayed as witty females. Foxes in Russian fairy tales would often trick their counterparts. This can be adult humans, wolves, roosters, and even bears. Which, that's an interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it's not that interesting because Russia's part of Eurasia, so it's kind of close to like China, Japan, and such. But a lot of the times you see like the kitsune being really clever, tricky foxes, often portrayed as females. It's an interesting thing to see in multiple cultures. Roosters in Russian fairy tales, the rooster is associated with the sun, as well as good fortune and fertility. Hens often laid golden eggs and made their owners rich. Russia, a culture resource guide, roosters can be found all over many household items. And often when there are two roosters within their heads together, it was as a wedding gift to wish the bride and groom a good marriage. Going on to bears, according to Russia, a cultural resource guide. Its Russian name, Medved, means one who knows where the honey is. It was an ancestor of the Russian people and is friendly. Oftentimes, people will be changed into bears as punishment or will often appear as a wise old man. The bear symbolizes strength, power, might, warmth, and protection. Let's see. Wolves often portrayed as male and as a villain in most Russian fairy tales. These creatures were not very smart and often susceptible to being led into traps and being tricked out of food or prey by foxes. According to one source, people were not allowed to eat wolves because it was believed the meat would turn them into a werewolf. Wolves stood for wild, untamed nature and were respected and feared. You guys want to hear a quick aside about werewolves?
Always.
Yeah.
I think it was Saint Augustine. I might have the wrong saint, but one of the saints who held political power back in the day, people had a fear of werewolves back during like the Dark Ages. And he came out and said, you don't have to be afraid of werewolves because werewolves aren't what you think they are. See, you think that werewolves are this, like demonic creature sent by the devil to torture you. But in fact, it is actually just you are manifesting your nightmares of werewolves into werewolves that work for the devil that attack you.
What? The mental, like,
Gymnastics?
Jesus, yes. What the hell? What in the absolute heck is that?
So his belief was, I think, I'm not going to say I'm speaking for one of the saints, but I think the mental idea there was all these horrible things are just you talk about it, you're spreading it around, and because we're all like you're spreading this fear around, everybody is manifesting it into a real thing. So you're seeing demons in the shadow, not because there's demons in the shadow, but because you have the entire town scared of the demon in the shadow.
You believe it so hard it becomes a thing.
Yeah. Again, I could be wrong. I wasn't him.
I return.
Welcome back.
You don't have to fear werewolves, just a
I'm
demon
opening
that
up the
looks
right
like
now.
a werewolf. Apparently.
No, you just have to fear your thoughts
Yeah.
of being afraid of werewolves.
You've seen a movie
Yeah,
with
'cause I don't
that?
have to
I'm
update
not
anything.
surprised, considering I've
I said, yeah,
seen a
'cause you don't have to
movie
update
about a
anything.
possessed car.
Christine.
Which one? Hey, I was gonna say that was a good one.
I am back.
I'm not even
streaming
gonna
it
talk
again.
about the
I
one
am
movie
sorry about that.
that involves cars and a woman. No, I refuse.
What was the game? Or what was the movie? God.
No, I'm not gonna say it.
Game. Oh no, my.
Just
Can you
know that
message
it
me?
was
I'm
traumatic.
curious.
Hmm?
Can you message me? Because I'm curious.
I don't remember the name of the movie, but I can tell you I can message you the premise of it.
Hi, Lethal. Thank you.
Is it a horror movie? I might have to add it to the list.
It is.
Duly noted. Zime,
Ka-chow.
Gyunchi. It means snake of the mountains, the Slavic version of a dragon. This creature is said to have 3 or more heads, and like other creatures in Russian fairy tales, they all know how to talk. They're usually male and can be found in forests and mountains. It is said that when he flies, he is so large that he blots out the sun.
Sleep good, Mom.
Also, hey Lethal. Hey Leon.
I have sent
Alkino.
you the premise of the movie. I don't remember the name of the movie.
Danke.
Oh, hello, Twisted.
Portrayed as a woman-headed bird. A woman-headed bird. It's like a harpy?
There's a movie about
Anyways.
a car tire that kills people. I'm sorry. I'm reading things in my chat and I'm just...
Portrayed as a woman-headed bird, this creature is similar to a siren and can actually change the weather depending on the mood she's in. It is said that they lay eggs in the water, and when in the water, the weather is calm. But once it hatches, there's a storm.
Gotta hydrate everyone really quickly.
Cup's empty.
Hmm?
I had a cup of tea that I was drinking, so you said hydrate. I picked up the cup. It was empty.
Oh, yeah. You hydrate on mine is water. And water only.
You don't always just have a bottle of water on hand.
Sometimes I lie
you
and
go
it's
get one?
Dr. Pepper.
How dare you?
How
I'm gonna
dare
have to,
you
like,
lie about hydrating with water and instead be drinking Dr. Pepper,
I'll
ma'am?
have to like contact
It's a doctor.
PK every time I
The-
have you
the-
hydrate. Be like, hey, was she drinking water?
It's a non-licensed doctor. What you? What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Show me Dr. Pepper's PhD.
I don't have to.
Show me Mr. Pepper's
You want to
doctorate.
know so bad, you find it yourself.
So, speaking of our topic today and hydrating, or I guess dehydrating, I could just take a shot of Crown Rousse vodka.
I will allow that. Simply because it's Russia Day.
I'm not going to because it tastes like paint thinner, but I could. Indrik. In the Dove book and Russian folklore, the Indrik beast is a fabulous beast, the king of all animals, who lives on a mountain known as the Holy Mountain. There are no other where no other foot may tread. When it stirs, the earth trembles. The word Indrik is a distorted version of the Russian word Edna. It means unicorn. It's the distortion of unicorn. The Indrik is described as a gigantic bull with legs of a deer, the head of a horse, and an enormous horn in its snout, making it vaguely similar to a rhinoceros. The Russian folklore creature gives its name to a synonym of... You killing me, donut. Cerverium. Indricothrium.
Where
The
is
biggest,
this? Wait, where is this?
the very bottom of animals.
Hey,
Hold on.
guys, I hate to cut mine short, but I just realized it's midnight. I've got to make sure I get to work tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
But
problem.
you guys can keep going, and like I said, I hope I didn't butcher any pronunciation, upset anybody or anything. You guys are awesome.
This just means it's time to put you back into the ice box.
Back in the box.
Say goodbye to everybody, Donut.
Goodbye, everybody.
Donut.
Bye.
Good night, Chief. Don't party too hard.
Or as they say in Russia, paka.
I'm just gonna believe him on that.
It's real. It's real. It's not the most formal way of saying it. It's real.
It's not drunk reading. It's just reading with ADHD people.
I mean, sometimes I'm drunk.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
No, usually I'm sober.
All right, night, guys.
Good night.
No, Twisted, you did not stumble into a drunk reading of mythology. You have stumbled into bad pronunciations. What are... Oh! Paraceratherium. And Indicrotherium. That?
Yeah. Yeah, those words.
Those are words.
I agree.
Those are words.
I agree.
What words were words that I missed?
The Paratherium and Indricotherium. Did I say them correctly again? Because I wasn't reading them.
I'm gonna say yes.
You're gonna say yes.
I'm going to accept that as truth.
Yes. Bean potato.
Anyway, that was it. That was animals.
That was animals. Gotcha. Whose turn is it now? I think Bun Buns hasn't said anything. Or did he? I forgot.
I have not.
Bun Buns is your turn.
But is it?
Yes.
It is now.
It is. It is indeed your turn.
Make it so, number
Damn.
one.
Well, give me a second.
While you do
Hold up,
that, I'm gonna
Lushy.
go to the little froggy's room.
Okay, then I will wait. Ignore any furious clicking you hear over from my stream.
Who are you mad at?
No one.
Then why is it furious?
I may or may not be playing random text-based clicker games that I used to play when I was
Ah.
younger.
Gotcha.
And that may or may not be why I miss things.
So how about that local sports team?
Oh man, local sports team did so good last game. So
Did you
good
see
or
that
bad
call?
last game.
That call was
That call
ridiculous.
that call was so good or bad, I can't believe it.
I was screaming at the TV. I don't know how you guys weren't.
That was definitely one of the matches I've ever seen. Mr. Lethal, if I keep redeeming hydrates, will I get you drunk? No, because I'm not drinking.
But why not?
Exactly. Twisted said, "Go sports."
Yay, sports team.
Thank you, Burger. I hope you have a great day.
Lethal agrees. Heck yeah, go sports.
Go sports. EA, it's in the game. What was the last EA game you played?
What EA games exist?
A lot of them.
Actually, probably The Sims.
They own The Sims?
Huh?
You said Sims?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's an EA game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What?
EA bought it, I guess.
I don't know.
I think Origin owns it, don't they?
They used to.
Apparently, these are all things that I could easily believe.
Because I think Origin made it, and then EA bought Origin.
Hmm. Okay.
EA buys a lot of game studios and then does nothing with them.
Yep. Is it rude if I go eat a burger now? I don't think so.
I mean, with Burger here, though,
I mean, I won't say nothing if y'all won't say nothing.
I know the last EA game Bird played.
Jeez,
Do,
what would that be?
might be Titanfall.
Might be Titanfall. I might play a lot of that one.
Can't believe you would ever play a lot of that one.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Hey. Best game that come out in 2016.
What games came out in 2016?
Battlefield 1 also came out in 2016, and I think so did Overwatch.
Overwatch indeed did. Dark Souls 3 came out in 2016.
Did Dark Souls
Dishonored 2.
16?
XCOM 2. Doom came out. Doom 2016. Hitman. What other games do I care about?
Lethal is asking, is Burb on fire? He's smoking.
Bioshock the Collection. Assassin's Creed the Ezio Collection. Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokemon Go, Batman Return to Arkham, Persona 5.
So
The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Kirby Planet Robobot,
Planet Robobot.
Super Hot VR, Job Simulator, The Witcher 3, Fallout 4? Is that 2016? No, that's 2015. Why is it in here?
I don't know.
I'm being lied to.
Maybe it was released for a certain console that year.
I don't know, because, well, I guess it could have just been so late in 2015 that it applied that for the major awards for 2016.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, November 10th.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it came out around Christmas time. I remember that.
I think 2016, I was more into tabletops than I was digital games at that moment.
Pony Island, Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, Darkest Dungeon,
Ooh, Darkest Dungeon came out in 2016. That's also
World of Tanks,
good.
Minecraft Story Mode Episode 1, FNAF World, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I don't know if I said XCOM 2 earlier or not. I think I did.
You might have.
Dying Light the Following, Final Fantasy 9? No, wait, what? It's
Might have been
2000.
remastered.
Might have been. But the other ones always said whatever. I guess maybe they didn't have the name in there. Street Fighter 5, Rocket League, Plague Inc. Evolved. God, that was 2016?
Apparently.
It's making me feel young now. I thought that was way older. Stardew Valley, Far Cry Primal, Gears of War Ultimate Edition,
Played the shit out of Gears of War Ultimate Edition.
Need for Speed, XCOM Enemy Unknown, so many games I've never even heard of.
I believe it.
Resident Evil 6,
There is no Resident Evil 6.
I'm being told that there is a Resident Evil 6.
Nope. They skipped 6. They went straight into 7 for some reason.
No, I'm reading here.
I think I would have remembered a Resident Evil 6.
I'm reading a Resident Evil 6.
Nah. That's got.
Is it just bad?
It's just bad.
Okay. I thought at first I was like, he's probably just saying it's bad, and you kept going with it. I was like, okay, maybe he really doesn't think it exists. And then later on, I was like, nah, I was right the first time.
That's why I said they skipped 6, went right into 7 for some weird reason.
Enter the Gungeon.
Enter the Gungeon.
Ratchet and Clank for the PS4. Wait, hold on. Let me go back up. Where was it?
Or just
I'm
wait. I'm
back,
gonna
Ease.
repurpose the Doom thingy.
I'm back, East. What did I miss?
I'm just talking about games that came out in 2016.
I might have repurposed my Dune redeem box to play Stardew while you were away.
Sir.
Because that came out in
Why
2016.
while I was away? I thought Bun Buns was talking.
I was
No.
talking, just not about the thing, because I was going to wait for you to get back.
Oh, but you could have just kept going.
Well, too bad.
You just didn't.
This gets more brain. Oh, hey, my brother might disagree with you, by the way. Shin
What?
Megami Tensei 4 came out that year. My brother loves SMT.
Actually, don't know what that is, but
You know Persona?
I know of Persona.
It's kind of like that. It's made by the same people, if I remember right. Crow also asked what everyone's last EA game they played was.
Like EA Sports?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
EA.
don't play sports games.
Well, I mean, but there's also one that he didn't know was EA. There's fucking The Sims.
Oh. Yeah. Well, actually, it's been a while. I haven't played Sims since I got my new computer because I just never re-downloaded it.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. Also, looking between our three streams really quickly. You got D, yours is so full of stuff. Mine is less full, and then Crow is going for minimalism.
I see nothing wrong with any of them.
Yeah.
They're all nice, but I just think it's funny because like
Different
I was looking at D's, and then I swapped over to Crow's. I was like,
What's wrong with
there is
mine?
nothing here. No, D. I was saying there's yours, which has a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's mine, which has stuff but not as much, and then Crow's, which has almost nothing.
The least amount of stuff.
Burr, Titanfall is EA.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier.
Gotcha.
What was it doing? Oh yeah. Also, D Stardew came out 2016. I think I said that. Leshy.
Leshy.
The best guy in Inscription. How the fuck? This isn't even. This isn't even like Russian or anything. What is this? Tutelary?
Oh, sorry.
Leshy is a tutelary deity of the forests in pagan Slavic mythology. They, since they rule over the forest and hunting, they may be related to the Slavic god Horwit. I guarantee that's not right, pronunciation-wise. There's also a deity named Sviatibor.
Athabor, I think.
Sviatibor? Probably that one, actually. Who is revered by both the Eastern and Western Slavs, heralded as the divine arbiter of woodland realms, and the and the sovereign ruler over other leshies. God, my brain is not braining. His functions were identical to those of the god Veles. Leshy, a masculine entity of humanoid form, poses the remarkable ability to adopt the guise of any appearance and can change in size and height. That's cool. Hi, Leon.
Hey, Leon.
In some accounts, Leshy has a wife and children. Also, quack. Thank you for giving Leon a shout out. Why did those two not play? Oh, there they are. Why are they
Daughter!
thinking so slow?
Glitch, how you doing?
Leshy is reputed for
Texture is
for his
yellow.
in
I called it. Called it Leon's.
he misguides wanderers and kidnaps children, apparently.
That was
A trait he shares with
Hi.
Chort, black one known as Devil. What? Okay. This leads certain people to perceive him as a malevolent entity. Leshy's attitude towards people can vary depending on how they interact with the forest and their overall behavior. Leshy possessed the power to whisk away children afflicted by malevolent maledictions of their own kin, especially their parents, to the ethereal realm of the forest-dwelling folk.
Empty.
So he sends them to the shadow realm.
All right, guys. Let's.
Leshy can be considered as a rather temperamental creature, similar to that of a fairy. He's got like the Bigfoot pose going on right here. The art of summoning, fortune telling, and other mystical practices. I can summon my very own Leshy?
I feel like there's reasons you don't want to do that, but yes.
One involves cutting down trees and arranging them in a circle with their tops at the center. Standing in the circle, one must remove a cross and shout loudly, "Grandfather." So you gotta cut down trees to call him in. This man is just the Lorax. Yeah, another is to fell a pine tree in a forest with a blunted axe, causing it to fall onto two aspen trees. Standing on these trees facing north, Leshy can be called upon. He is just the Lorax. But he kicks your ass instead of telling you to stop. I like it. The Lorax I say, the Lorax I say. On the night of Ivan Kupila, I didn't say either of those right, I'm sure.
No, Ivan.
Ivan? I didn't say that second one right then. One can cut down an aspen tree so that it falls to the east, then stand on the stump facing east, bend over, look between their legs, and say, "Oh my god, Uncle Leshy, show yourself as I am, not as a gray wolf, black raven, or fir tree." That's kind of weird.
That's the part that made you say this is weird, really?
Yes. You gotta bend over, look between your legs, and say, "Uncle Leshy." That's weird. Other ways to summon him include not praying at night and thinking about him before bed, sitting on a pine stump and auctioning 3 times, closing the door with the left hand before entering the forest, digging up an anthill with the left foot, cutting the top of a birch tree with the left hand and shouting ooh ooh ooh. Additionally, one can cut down an aspen tree, take a chunk from it, and auction 3 times. What do they mean by auction 3 times? Another method is to remove a cross at night in the forest, bury it in the ground, and say, Lord of the Forests, I have a request for you. Can I hire Leshy to kick someone's ass for me?
You don't want to make deal with any Fae.
Yeah.
And I'm placing it as Fae.
All right.
Like,
so the
what do they
phrase
do?
to action something is a correct and usable phrase in written English. You can use the phrase to mean to execute an action or to take a necessary step to complete a task.
To action or to auction?
Oh, I misspelled it. My bad. Sell or offer or sell at an auction.
So you're offering it 3 times.
Yeah.
In a lot of practical magic, you have to say things 3 times for it to come to be.
Yeah, 3 is the magic number.
Mm-hmm.
Also, why
Literally.
the left hand? That's so weird. Maybe Leshy's just a lefty.
Maybe.
On Christmas Eve, it was common to engage in fortune-telling rituals in the forest, often at a crossroads and during the night. The fortune tellers would create 3 circles or use the skin of an animal as a boundary, placing a magical object such as a poker or a ray within. Sitting on the skin, they would also place a piece of bread and sometimes other objects beside them. And then they ask Leshy for insight into the coming year. The response would come in the form of various forest sounds, which the fortune tellers would interpret. It is believed that Leshy. Huh?
There's so much information on the Leshy. Jesus.
Oh yeah, and they said that this was the cut down version. It was believed that they would only answer 3 questions, and failure to follow the ritual could result in severe consequences. It was also believed that on Maundy Thursday, Maundy, how do you pronounce that? Holy Thursday. Okay. It was also believed that on Holy Thursday, one could seek out an old birch tree in the forest, sit on it, and call upon Leshy, known as the Forest King, father to all can call upon Leshy by saying, Forest King, father to all animals, appear here, to reveal the future. Additionally, it was said that Leshy could foretell the fate of someone who simply encountered him. In certain regions, the appearance of Leshy was seen as a sign of impending trouble. I see vodka in this next one. Let's go. Hold on. When discussing encounters with Leshy, as well as other malevolent entities, phrases such as entices, beckons, lures, tempts, scares, and other expressions of uncertainty are often used. However, there are tales in which Leshy is able to communicate with humans without any obstacles, such as visiting a pub and drinking vodka, hiring a person as a worker, visiting people, playing matchmaker for a girl he fancies, and so on. There are also stories in which Leshy is portrayed as a giant riding on humans transformed into horses. What the fuck? Oh, okay. Wait. No, wait.
I'm not understanding whether the Leshy is evil or not.
I think he's just ambivalent.
Hmm.
They mentioned that he's like a fairy,
Yeah,
or that
which
he acts like a fairy
yeah, he does a lot of fey things like kidnapping kids.
and turning people into horses, apparently. Carrying a person on his back, stealing food and supplies from people, including grain and nails.
It's the Lorax.
That's what I said earlier. They're stealing my joke.
Yeah.
Because one of the ways to a few of the ways to summon him are to chop down a tree and do a little other things. But like you chop down a tree and then he's like, "Bam! What the fuck you doing?" And he beats your ass. At times, Leshy even seeks assistance from humans, such as asking to be taught how to play the harmonica. That's wholesome. Requesting food, having a midwife help deliver a Leshy child, being freed by a hunter from fellow hunters, being cared for by a woman after being found naked in the woods. Okay. And receiving prayers from a man to help ward off devils. In return, Leshy shows gratitude towards humans by helping them become wealthy, giving them magical objects, and even taking their place in the army. It is believed that during human wars, Leshy and other forest spirits may also engage in battles among themselves. Leshy is often used in profanity, although it can be replaced with the word devil.
Thank you for the follow, Macy. Welcome aboard the Froggy Army.
Hi, person.
I see you found your way here from Dommies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the hip tap, Jack.
Oh my god, there's so much goddamn shit on Leshy. I thought I was nearing the end. I've just barely begun.
It doesn't stop. Don't stop coming. Don't stop coming.
You've barely
goodness
begun.
gracious. I thought I had it bad for a moment.
Okay, so how many paragraphs are left? 1, 2, 3. How many fucking paragraphs would this qualify as? Like 5?
Donut might went a little off the rails.
Yeah, and he said this was the shortened version. Oh my god.
That is the shortened version. I looked at the long version.
Summarize
Oh,
it.
God.
Summarize it. Can we just watch the Lorax instead? I mean, if you want, we can definitely have a movie night on the server and I can just stream the Lorax.
Female Leshy. Honestly, just a really nice tree. The feminine counterpart of Leshy.
Oh, thank you,
as
Leon.
depicted
I
in-
forgot. My bad.
Oh my gosh.
As depicted in folklore, takes on many forms, just like Leshy himself. She may take on the appearance of a grotesque being with large, elongated breasts. Okay. That she drapes over her shoulders as she walks. What the fuck?
I just want to say that Macy is a sweetie that
That's a
we
descriptor.
met the other day when
That is-
Dami rated her.
What the fuck?
She's currently doing, I think, her first playthrough through Stardew.
Or she may appear as a regular
she
girl
knows
or
a lot
woman,
about modding
either
Stardew,
nude
and
or
she's been
clad
helping
in tattered garments
Dami
or a flowing white
today.
or red dress.
And
So she can be all
she's
fucked
just
up,
really sweet.
or she can
so
be a
thank
lady.
you so much for the follow, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
I forget sometimes to do
Her
things.
hair may
but
be
thank you,
unkempt
Leon.
with green branches
I
intertwined
appreciate
within
you.
it, or she may manifest as a towering, haggard old lady. Some say she is a colossal woman. That was a very short sentence. I thought there was a comma. It is said that the female counterpart of Leshy hangs her offspring in cradles suspended from the trees. So is that where the Rockabye Baby comes from, or something?
Rockabye baby. I don't know her, but figured I'd check since you said all streamers get. Yes, of course they do. If I know they're a streamer, they do, but sometimes my brain goes a little fuzzy and I forget to give shout outs. But yes, you are very correct. Thank you, Leon. I appreciate it. Sometimes this girl just needs a little help with her brain.
I really just need somebody to take mine off and just like spray it down with a hose, but just Good old fashioned factory reset.
I got some canned air if you want.
Mel Brooks approved.
Do you need rice too? I mean, if you spray it down with some water, you're gonna need rice.
There's that.
She is often portrayed as a powerful mistress within Leshy's domain. Like Leshy, what?
Leon said canned air to help blow through Plague's head.
The fuck did I do?
I'm sorry. You may continue. I'm gonna mute myself so you can continue.
No, Lethal, really quickly, that wasn't canned, that was bottled.
Motherfucker.
What?
OBS disconnected again, so my stream's
Oh.
probably gonna drop in a second. Yippee! We'll be
Waffle,
right
yeah,
back.
dropped.
Like that.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
Okay,
Are you here?
like Leshy, she is known for scaring people with her loud cries in the forest, luring them off their path, and kidnapping people.
Why would you walk in the middle of the street?
And livestock. The female Leshy also shares similar characteristics. Leshy, yes, you've said that already. Such as stealing unblessed food, making deals with shepherds to graze their livestock, and showing appreciation to those who aid them. In Ukraine, what was that opera? Okay, in Ukrainian folklore, there's a tale of a man who marries a forest girl after baptizing her and stealing her clothes while she was bathing. Ooh. My God, so he was just a deviant. Where did the opera go? There it is. She bears a striking resemblance to a mermaid known as the Free Old Woman or Mistress of the Tundra and Bogs in northern folklore. She is said to possess the traits of a cursed girl who perished in the forest. This depiction of the female counterpart of Leshy is often seen as a distinct character due to its partial independence from the original image, and yet she has no specific name. Leshy was renowned as the main reason why someone would get lost in the forest, hence earning the nickname the one who leads astray or lures away. Individuals cannot find their way because Leshy surrounds them, creating an invisible barrier that transports them from one world to another. The fuck? I forgot. He Shadow Realm. God. Anyone who suddenly steps on the tracks left by Leshy will inevitably get lost and encounter obstacles. Leshy also has the power to block the path with obstacles such as fallen trees and rivers. Alternatively, it can hide the lost individual from prying eyes. People can hear that they are nearby but cannot find them. Leshy can even figuratively tie the person to the very tree in which it resides, compelling the traveler to constantly return to it. It can manipulate natural signs and landmarks that serve as guides on the path. Leshy can lure a hunter deep into the thicket by pretending to be an elusive or exotic animal. Where'd they go? It can also mimic the voice of a friend, a crying child, or a dying person by taking on the appearance of a familiar or unfamiliar companion. Leshy distracts the victim with conversations or promises an abundant amount of
How you
mushroom
doing,
or berry
Don?
patches. I want mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms, why am I saying that? They're pretty, but I don't want to eat them.
What have you been doing, Dawn? Also,
Only to lead them to an
did you change yourself
impassable
to a
place
duck?
before
Because it didn't
disappearing.
work. Do you want me to
Its
make you a duck?
appearances
I
in
can
these
make you a duck.
cases often coincide with a person's dreams of like. Okay. Shut up about your
Everybody
logic.
loves kung fu fighting.
The lost person finds themselves in an unfamiliar place that is perceived as inaccessible in everyday terms. God, stop talking about everyday terms. I want just mythological terms.
Oh.
It's a different world.